The following is a presentation of the Radio Misfits Podcast Network.
From the birthplace of modern winemaking, Sonoma, California, welcome to The Winemakers. Local experts Sam Couturi, Bart Hansen, and Brian Casey, along with host John Myers, invite you to listen in as they discuss all facets of winemaking. So sit back, pour yourself a glass, and let's hear what the guys have to say this week.
We are now. Sam,
how's that for a pour?
that's a pour. Perfect pour. Sauvignon Blanc pour this morning on a stunning Sonoma morning. Another day.
Fog cleared.
Just perfect. What can I say?
It's summertime. We get the perfect amount of hours of ripening weather that whatever it is, 80 to 90 basically range.
It's been beautiful.
And the fog just enough, we'll get into the 90s today. You can jump in a pool or the creek or whatever.
Won't even know it.
But you won't yeah. And then you could go a valley or two over and it's going to be a totally different ball game, right? It'll be a lot warmer.
So. Exactly. To the Mojave Desert in certain places.
Yeah. Or, Central Coast is going to be crazy hot this week.
Yeah.
But
hello, Isabella Morano. How are you? Welcome.
I'm so good. How are you?
Excellent. I can't complain on this morning with you guys sitting around here having an excellent. What day is today? It's I think
that's what
Tuesday, right?
What day is it?
I wanted to know what was going to be on TV when I turned it on.
Yeah.
The Olympics are still
Olympics. It's always the Olympics.
Are you all watching the Olympics?
It's been awesome.
No.
And what have your favorite things been, Bart?
Yes.
Track and field.
Track and field, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, I've been loving them.
Crazy win recently. There was some kind of someone won by the tip of their nose.
By the
no miles,
miles in the.
But it's torso. I didn't realize it. It's not the first thing that crosses the line. It's your torso.
So I learned all you have to do is stick your body out when you're at the finish line, and then you can win.
You got to get to the finish line.
You got to be kind of close.
You got to be close enough.
But Isabella,
Damn, it was only 100 meters.
Qualifies as a win.
If I start with a 99 meter head start.
A win's a win,
Isabella with her body out.
The swimming has been awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
But the best part of the Olympics, 100%. Snoop Dogg. No, there's no
I can't remember.
unequivocally.
I didn't know what they were exactly doing when they chose him, but man, it has been fun.
They don't know either. That's the best part of it.
Did you see Snoop Dogg?
What is his
whatever
job?
Commentary?
Whatever he wants.
He's a master of
and
ceremonies.
then he just has to show up in the the booth at the end of the day with Mike Tirico a couple times and say what he did that day. It's dressed up with Martha Stewart to go to the dressage, or
so
went and hung out with hanging out with the parents or the wives, and
he was feeding carrots to the horses from the jumping events. Just dressed in full garb.
If you're Snoop Dogg, what do you want to do at the Olympics?
But I'll
whatever
tell
you want, and getting paid apparently $500,000 a day.
He owns
but understands this. Yeah. So Snoop Dogg. This is all marketing. Oh, yeah. Snoop Dogg is one of the new hosts on whatever NBC. The Voice. So this is all tying it all together.
And now Snoop Dogg is the official Olympic person with the Olympics coming to LA in 4 years.
Well, and then what about this? What about Colin Jost from Saturday Night Live in Tahiti, because he's the surfing expert?
Yeah, as much as Paris and July sounds great, I think I would take that job.
Exactly.
Tahiti.
What do you mean he's the surfing expert? What qualifies?
Well, for NBC.
Whoa.
So, and that's where they held the surfing.
I think his hair qualifies.
He looks like a surfer on TV.
Yeah. I know. I was
Welcome
tuned
to
in.
the winemaker.
I wanted to see Scarlett Johansson surfing.
Thank you, Sam. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Winemakers. I'm John Myers with Brian full boat today. Brian Casey, Bart Hansen, and Sam Couturi, and Isabella Morano. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
Isa Wines?
Isa Wines,
Isa.
yes.
Isa
Okay.
Wines.
Yeah.
All right. You got to pronounce it right. It's like Isabella.
You got it. Isabella, exactly.
Excellent. Sounds good to me. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Where were you this morning?
I was in San Francisco. I live in San Francisco, where the fog is much thicker. It's a very foggy day there. So I texted Sam earlier and I was like, is it hot? And he said, yes, it will be very hot. So I was just answering emails, to having meetings up there. It's been a very busy time as I'm getting to release these wines.
Where do you live in the city?
I live in Corona Heights.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like those areas.
It's very nice.
The city's fantastic.
Where's Corona Heights?
You know Twin Peaks?
Yeah.
It's basically the same, or like adjacent
okay.
neighborhoods.
Right.
Yeah. It's just a tiny part of the town.
Up on the hill there.
Exactly.
But that's what makes it San Francisco. They've got a million tiny little parts.
A million tiny little towns jammed into one 7 hills.
Well, and that's the thing that it sounds like that's going on, and maybe you can verify this. What's happening in San Francisco now is all the bad press because of the financial district and the other homeless problems and everything, but all the little neighborhoods are all thriving.
It's true. I mean, I will say it's definitely less lively than it used to be. The city is pretty sleepy now, but I've lived there for 13 years now, and I've lived in so many of the little neighborhoods, and they all have been thriving the whole time. I think the news, or whatever the news outlets are saying, it's a big bias.
Right.
Fake news.
It's an easy target.
So what brought you to San Francisco, or where were you before San Francisco?
So I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Hey there.
Yes.
All right.
Hey there.
Shout out to the Georges. Yeah. We have some Milwaukee listeners.
Oh, okay.
Friendstomers.
Yes.
Don't call me George Brett.
Don't call me George Brett George.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
But I came to San Francisco for school. So I went to University of San Francisco. And my intention was to study winemaking and wine, but I was 18, so I couldn't really do that yet. So I studied global politics and got jobs in restaurants and learned about wine through that.
So interesting thing. On Thursday, I'm taking my son and a couple of his friends down to University of San Francisco for a campus tour.
Very cool.
The Dons.
Go Dons.
Yeah, go Dons. And he wants to study international relations.
I studied global politics.
Yeah.
Did I just say that?
Yeah, you did. And that's,
Wow, you should be having some really interesting thoughts right about now.
I often have interesting thoughts. You might be shocked to hear.
Wait, I want to know, what restaurant did you work at? Any restaurants?
I worked at so many restaurants. I started at, actually my very first job was at Escape from New York Pizza on Heath Street.
Yeah.
And then I kept working in pizza because, again, I was a teenager and no one would hire a teenager to work with wine. So I finally broke through at St. Vincent Tavern, which was owned by David Lynch back in the day.
Wow.
The wine guy, not the film guy.
Right. Okay.
And that was my first real wine job. And that was when I was super into studying wine. And then from there, where did I work? I worked at Arlequin Wine Merchant for a really long time, and then I got my first.
I gotta give that one.
Yeah, that one deserves a ding. We ding big names on the show.
Yeah.
How do I do that?
Oh,
hey, there you go.
Had some fever.
Yeah.
Almost had some glass cracking.
And from there, I got my first sommelier job at Absinthe.
Okay.
And so I worked
Nice.
in both places for a while, and that's also when I started working harvest. So I started working with Martha Stuman while I was at both of those places. I was doing a lot. And
Of course you did.
You ding that one, Tim.
at Martha Stuman?
Yeah.
Can we ding it?
Yeah,
Oh,
for sure.
yeah.
I'll do it
A
later.
little gentler this time.
Go
Too gentle.
higher on the. Higher.
Okay.
There you go.
I can't believe you've never done that before.
I know. That's really fun.
Okay.
All these fancy sommelier jobs, you're not allowed to ding the crystal, you know.
Shatter those glasses.
Dinging the crystal.
Welcome in.
Call Riddell.
We're just
In your
testing
glass
it out.
tonight.
Hello.
And it all took
I'm
off
here.
from there. Yeah.
All right, back to you. Sorry.
What about me? What's the question?
Just back to you. So worked with Martha,
Yes.
and that was when she was where?
She was in Richmond. So she was working out of what it's now called the Purity Space.
Okay.
In Richmond.
I don't know about
in the
that.
East Bay.
Yeah.
So
Great
she was
name,
a
though.
one-woman show. I was her first intern along with this other man named Aaron.
Okay.
And it was so fun and so inspiring and just I didn't realize you could actually make wine in the city or in
Right.
the Bay. So that was really inspiring. And from there, I worked at Foradori, and then I worked at Domaine Mos in the Loire, and then
Oh, nice.
yeah, very fun.
Like that area.
And I intended on doing 2 harvests that year, one in Sardinia with De Peru Hilaire, but I missed their harvest because you can't really work 2 harvests in Europe. It doesn't make sense.
No.
But I'm sitting here listening to her, and I'm thinking, God, she's worked all these harvests all over the place, and Dana ought to just forget college and just get a job in Europe somewhere,
Honestly, but really, yeah, I think that would be the
No,
He
College
has,
is
he
fun.
has no
to
interest.
college.
He has no interest in wine.
Not yet.
You had the interest. So.
yeah. Yeah, not yet. Maybe he will later, but college is a lot of fun too. USF is fun.
Yeah.
Why did you have an interest in wine before you were even able to drink?
Yeah, that and like, how do you have an interest in wine and also be good at global politics? I guess wine is global politics.
It is, exactly. Actually,
it's
global
history,
politics,
right?
it's all history. It's like so many things. History and wine go hand in hand, obviously. And then global politics, I just have an interest in people and an interest in history and all of the things that go along with that. So it just makes sense in my brain. I don't know. Studying wine, and wine is a fun thing, and global politics is not always fun. So it's nice to have balance. Not that I mean, I don't do anything with global politics anymore, but
do they teach you that it's like just really like three guys sitting in a room and the world is like a chessboard and they all own these huge corporations and they decide one day they're gonna like go into Africa and grab some lithium and shit? Does it get like that deep into that kind of crap?
Unfortunately, they don't teach you that explicitly, but you have to figure that out yourself.
Meanwhile, in a deserted warehouse across town.
I mean, if
the Trilateral Commission and the Matrix Report,
if this would have been a video podcast, the look that she was giving Brian there, like classic. Like, who the fuck is this guy?
I'm actually very into conspiracy, so we can talk later.
That was me when I was actually going to college. Is I was into the big conspiracies, and I would spend hours first smoking weed and then digging down into global conspiracies.
I mean, it's
fucking
all just
fascinating.
true.
Isabella, have you ever buried a bear cub in Central Park at midnight? That's what I want to know.
Is that like what's that club?
That's a presidential candidate. RFK Jr.
Yikes.
I think as of today, he's out.
I don't know if I can talk about that on air because
you can talk about it.
Statute of limitations haven't run out. Tell us about the Sauvignon Blanc.
Hard pivot.
No, but what was your like wine, the source of your wine inspiration coming, as a teenager out of Milwaukee? Why were you, what was like the driving force there?
So we're going to go way back, like almost 20 years ago.
Let's go to the beginning.
The very beginning. I am on a family trip with my dad and my ex-stepmother and my sister. We're in Italy for the first time. And
about how old are you?
I am about 12, 13.
Okay.
And so you just revealed my age on air.
Sorry.
I'm just kidding. I'm 31. I'm 31.
No, you were vague enough. Yeah. But also it's like the age being in Europe where you're old enough to get served wine.
Yes, exactly. But not too much, like sips of, we weren't getting wasted, but like I was just so fascinated by the culture, and like I have Italian heritage, and I was just like really getting in touch with like what it means to be an Italian person. Not that, I mean, I'm an American person, I'm not an Italian person, but I was just so fascinated by the way that they eat and the way they drink wine and how wine brings everyone together. Like at every meal, besides breakfast, everyone is just convening over wine.
Depending on the family.
Not my Italian family.
Yeah. But it fascinated me. So the seed was planted then, and then Anthony Bourdain came into my life, and I had a big...
1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Anthony, want to come on the show?
Yeah.
I wish, yeah. And that really changed.
No reservations in Sonoma, up on the hill, walking through the pod fields.
Where would he go? Where do you think Anthony would have gone in Sonoma?
I have some ideas.
Like Ernie's Tin Barn?
He would have, maybe.
Start. That's a good start.
Yeah. I could see him the El Verano.
Andreessen's in Petaluma.
Yeah, like a little more even, like, Ernie's is
the El
sort of
Verano
like a modern, the EVI or Jack London Lodge for like a cold beer after working in some vineyard stuff.
Harvest Moon back in the day.
Harvest Moon back in the day, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, some fucking taco trucks.
Yeah,
right.
Duh.
For sure.
He likes those things.
The tamales guys who drive around and
the tamale lady who comes to your door with like the plastic shopping bag with tamales. Yeah, no, that's
the best tamale you'll ever have.
Yeah, because somebody would introduce them, and he definitely would.
Yeah. So yeah, shout out to him.
Yeah.
R.I.P. So that time kind of just changed my brain chemistry. I think I was just thinking, like, first of all, how do I get out of Wisconsin? No shade to Wisconsin. I love it there now, but for a while I was just like, I do not belong here. I need to go.
I'm surprised you didn't like go to work for Miller or Pabst.
I don't like beer.
John, have you not been paying attention this whole time?
I understand, but it's Milwaukee. I thought everybody grew up.
No, I love the smell of a brewery though. There's like the yeasty smell of Milwaukee is really iconic and very.
It is beer town.
Right. But I wanted to get out and I thought, what's a very romantic and fun thing I can do with my life? And I decided wine. And that's how I ended up in San Francisco.
Smart.
Thank you.
Beats Milwaukee. I like Milwaukee.
It's very cute. It's very fun.
I think that is our first like Bourdain reference as far as
I think so
wine origin stories on the podcast. 300 and some odd episodes in.
That blows my mind.
I mean, it's probably because for him, I think wine was always part of the conversation, but it was not the focus.
Right.
Like it was always there. It was always present. It was always about the people.
But I mean, that's exactly what fascinated me or kind of like hooked me on the wine industry too. It's about the people. Like it still is to this day. Like wine to me is about community. It's about coming together over something, making something together. Like nothing, I do nothing. How do I say this better? Isa Wines would be nothing without all of the people that help me. Like I don't do anything alone. Though I do a lot of things, quote unquote, alone. It's like I'm completely supported by my community. So it's and in restaurants, like I've worked in restaurants for a really long time now.
Yeah. So is it your full-time gig or are you still working in restaurants?
It both.
Okay.
It is my full-time gig and I work in restaurants and I have other jobs. I have to have I work a lot of different things in order to support Isa Wine.
Yeah, but I think that's important to people to know that. Like our listeners know that.
For sure.
Know, you're not a trust fund kid, obviously.
Not at all. It's all independently funded and I think that's really stupid, honestly, but it's just the way that I've been doing it.
There we go.
Tell your son that.
When you figure it out, let me know. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. But it's actually a really big part of my story is like how hard it is. I feel like that's what I try not to get too negative because I'm living a beautiful dream. Like I get to do this every day, but it is so, so hard. Like it's not easy.
Yeah.
Sam, I was sitting here this morning setting up for the podcast, listening to Phil and Max talk.
Were they yelling at each other?
No, it was
might be a private conversation.
The point
Should we put this on the show?
The point is that what an education from a person. You talk about people, but think of being able to work that close with Phil and learn what he has in his head and his heart. What an education that is.
Yeah, it's about the people.
It is,
right?
That's where I'm going.
In this, and I talk about this a lot, but my dad is turning 72 this year, making this his 59th harvest.
Wow.
Which is a big number, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Where's the ding? At the same time, in what other profession, even making beer, do you only do the thing that you do
one time
60 times, 80, 70 times in your lifetime, and because of that, it has to be about the people and these, transfers of knowledge, and taking that knowledge and applying it to the current situation to build the next transfer of knowledge. The wine industry is dependent on that, on those people.
Absolutely.
Because we're, as wise and knowledgeable as Phil is, again, there's only 60 times of doing that. And he'll be the first to say, and especially in a, newer, young in the scale of the world growing region like Sonoma, so there's maybe we can call it 200 times. We're calling it 200 times for the sake of it this year, but that's only 200 times that grapes have been harvested in Sonoma. There's a lot to learn still. And I think that's
especially all you have to do is compare any growing region in Europe and they just
like
scoff at it.
thousands of right. So those people are what it has to be built on, to build that continual, building that knowledge base.
Isabella, we were talking about Spain and the Basque region.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you can find the old Roman wine storage systems with the clay bowls and the clay pots and everything. It's pretty amazing.
Totally.
Yeah, it goes back just a little bit farther than Sonoma, but
Can we talk about this wine?
Yeah.
Totally. Is this for spinning?
Yes.
Okay. So the first wine we are tasting is called Claire Annalise. It is Sauvignon Blanc. I specialize in Sauvignon Blanc. How close do I need to be to this, by the way?
About
what you're doing.
Okay. I specialize in
You're the
Sauvignon
first
Blanc.
person to ever ask.
everybody's like, oh,
I know.
close enough.
You get an award.
They're over there.
and turning on the microphone as opposed to turning your head away from the microphone.
So I'm a natural,
No,
would you
you're
say?
doing a great job. You're
you.
natural.
Okay, so this is Sauvignon Blanc from Mendocino, from the Talmadge Bench region. The vineyard is called the Mee Vineyard, farmed by the Mee family. They're lovely people. MEE. It's named Claire Annalise after my partner. Her name's Claire Annalise. It's Sauvignon Blanc from the Bordeaux clone of Sauvignon Blanc, which I think is really interesting.
Is that considered clone 1?
I don't know that the
That
number
part of
name.
it,
Yeah, I just know that it's a Bordeaux clone.
It seems to me that's what it was. It was
Yeah.
like clone 1 is the Bordeaux.
Yeah. It's a very cool kind of it lends to my most popular wine each year. People really like this wine because it's kind of more lush. It like almost Chardonnay drinkers typically like it, and Sauvignon Blanc drinkers, which I think is kind of a rare crossover. I didn't expect that. But
It's got great texture.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The soil is loamy gravel, which lends to Bordeaux clones, which I think is really cool. My friend Evan Lewandowski introduced me to this vineyard, and every year I go to get the fruit from his winery. He helps me with the pick, and then we go have lunch at his winery, and then I take it back to Magnolia. So it's a nice little tradition every year.
Yeah, I mean that's a nice warm area up there, which lends itself well to Sauvignon Blanc and
soil similar to Bordeaux.
Yeah.
It's that silty.
Yeah,
loam.
it's really delicious.
Oh,
You know?
minerality.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a
fucking
lot
great.
of minerality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am partial to higher elevation, like super high elevation vineyards. I typically like to focus on those. This one isn't low. It's like 600 feet, 600 meters elevation. But I was originally worried that it wouldn't have like enough minerality or enough like tension. But every year it performs so well.
The very cool bottle and label.
Thank you.
Tell us about that.
The label. So my label art is designed by my friend Pablo Christie, who is an art teacher in Oakland. He's a really cool guy. This is the second iteration of that design. He did the first iteration. You'll see it's in the fridge. My very first wine was made from the Santa Cruz Mountains, but we kind of came up with this design together. He's an absolute saint because my brain, the creative process of my brain is not easy to follow. I'm just kind of like, yeah, I want something kind of like that and that.
You know
and he's
what
like,
you
what does
like.
that mean? I know what I like, but I
Yeah.
don't know how to tell anyone. And so he just came up with this gorgeous design, and we changed the colors, and we changed basically the design is the same every year with different colors for each cuvee.
It's a watercolor Georgia O'Keeffe.
It does kind of look like that. Yeah.
Well, the person,
Yeah.
whoever it is.
Yeah, the watercolor
Yeah.
is cool.
Thank you.
And the bottle?
The bottle, I just really like the tall, skinny Hawk bottles.
Is that a Riesling bottle?
Yeah.
Brian?
Can be.
It's a hawk bottle.
Traditionally, yeah.
During the pandemic, it could have been a Cabernet bottle.
Get whatever bottle you can freaking find.
Whatever you could
Right.
get your hands on.
I mean, it's funny. If I bring home a bottle of wine in that bottle, whatever variety it is, my wife looks at it and goes, "Oh, is that a sweet wine?"
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
no, it's
that's
not.
good marketing, though. Think about it. Like Riesling, people
Right.
think that it's going to be a sweet wine.
Right.
I love making wine in California because there are no rules and people just kind of do whatever they want. And for a while,
Big.
Favorite part of California.
yes, for a while, it actually really annoyed me when I was first studying wine. I thought it was so stupid. I'm like, everyone, you guys need to get it together. Like, just form some rules and follow them like the rest of the world does. But
That's really
now,
funny.
yeah, but now that I make wine, I'm like, why not just put Sauvignon Blanc in a Riesling bottle? Who cares?
Thank
Yeah,
you.
no, the rules are great until you have to follow them.
Yeah, exactly.
How did you get hooked up with Martha?
So working at Arlequin was a really great jumping board. Is that what people say? What's the
Absolutely.
phrase?
Yeah.
Springboard.
Springboard. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what Simone Biles uses to get up onto the.
Back on the Olympics.
And
huh?
also a distributor of wine. If you're,
yeah, I was thinking
Yeah.
about that first.
I don't know if they're yours, but yes.
No,
Okay.
I self-distribute in California, but
That's nice.
the question was Martha. So
Oh, Martha.
I met so many producers when I was working at Arlequin, and I had some really great mentors. One of them, Caleb Taft. He's a really cool guy who lives in Washington now. I was going to say Oregon, like on the Washington-Oregon border. But he was like he really encouraged me to get into wine production and really learn about it. And one day he had me make a list of producers I've met, or maybe haven't met, but just like people I'm interested in working with that I've tasted at the shop. And Martha was at the top of the list. And then I emailed her because I had her contact from working at the shop, and she was gracious and let me work with her.
And what was it about her wines?
She was just starting out on her own back then. So I had tasted the Le Lune wines and the Populous wines that she made with her friends back then, Shant and Diego. But honestly, it was a lot more about back then. It was about like working with a woman. That was important to me. Like I have worked with men a lot, and it was really inspiring to me that a young woman was making wine in the Bay Area like that. I found that to be very cool. And I really liked the way that she talked about wine, and I liked the way that she like represented herself. And I felt like I could really learn from her. And I like her wines a lot. Like their wines are very fun, or her wines that she made with her friends back then were very fun and cool. I hadn't really tasted the Martha Stewman wines yet, but it was mostly about, I was thinking about who can I learn the most from, and how can I feasibly work a harvest while I'm working 2 jobs in San Francisco. And it worked out.
Yeah, she's like a really great combination of playful and serious, like at the same time with her wines.
Yeah.
You know, does some interesting things, but they're always fucking delicious.
And they keep getting better every year. They keep getting better. And I love the way that she, like the influence of Kos, Giusto Occhipinti.
Giusto.
His influence is so strong in her wines, and it's so beautiful to taste, sort of like a Californian Sicilian hybrid.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. Which part?
Just what you said, the influence of Giusto. Say it again.
Giusto Occhipinti.
Yes.
I find, his wines are very powerful. They're kind of like singular. Like there's a lot of power in Sicily. Like there's a lot of elegance and finesse. And like, obviously with Mount Etna, like it's sort of and all the volcanic soil, it's sort of like, I typically expect more elegance than I get from Giusto's wines, but I mean that in a positive way. Like they're very rustic and kind of like power forward. And Martha's wines are sort of the same thing in California, where like a lot of people are making more elegant styles, or more like they press a little bit sooner. They're not really going for the like tannin structure. Martha does not shy away from that. And she makes some still very fun wines that are serious and are like really food friendly. And she has a really strong sense of self. And I really respect that.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Can you go into your team a little bit? I know you said that Claire does your website, and it's excellent, very easy, but you've got an extensive team. Again, people.
Yes.
So can you go into some of those? I mean, we know Jack Sporer.
Yes. So I was going to start with Jack. Jack. We all know Jack Sporer. He's a huge.
Jack a ding.
I was going to say
Jack is elevated into a ding. All right, I gotta go see. See Jack later.
Listen,
tell him he's ding worthy on the podcast now.
A couple of you sitting at the table here rely on Jack, so I was kind of helping you out, like
side of the table.
elevating Jack to,
we are pro Jack over here.
Right.
We are pro Jack.
So Jack is a really big
covers
part.
your ass. Let's face it.
He's a big part of the business. He's a great collaborator. He's very helpful. He owns Magnolia Custom Crush, where I make my wines and where Sam makes his wines.
He can reach all the high things.
He really can.
It's so great.
He's so tall. And he has his cellar. I don't know what Sergio's title is. Cellar master, cellar
boss.
Yes, he's kind of the boss of Jack, honestly. Jack will love me saying that on this podcast. But Sergio he runs the cellar, and he is a huge part of my team too. He's very kind and patient, and just does every job that he does it perfectly, and he does like every job.
Sergio's amazing.
Yes. Yeah. And Pablo, my label artist, is a part of the team. And then I've listed on my website a lot of people who've contributed in the past, like Cole Thomas from Madsen. He provided the space for Isa Wines to be started. He provided his winery for me to make my first vintage of wine. And his business partner, Ken Sweggles, provided the fruit from this vineyard, from the Ascona vineyard in the Santa Cruz Mountains, for me to make my first wine.
Cool.
Beautiful transition, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
She's a natural.
You need a part-time job. that doesn't
I need
pay.
so many. I already have so many that don't pay. I can't do
We're
that.
gonna always
anymore.
use you on the radio station.
Yeah, I'll take $50 an hour.
You're a natural.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So Cole Thomas is the salt of the earth. He's incredible. And so is Ken Sweggles. They're a great team. And they make the Madsen wines together in the Santa Cruz Mountains with Abby Davino. And this vineyard is one of my favorite vineyards in the world. It is at 2,500 feet elevation, and Ken actually lives on the vineyard with his 2 beautiful dogs. It's Sauvignon Blanc from the Alto Adige clone. So I originally worked with this vineyard because it's so beautiful and amazing, but also Alto Adige is where, Trentino Alto Adige is where Foradori is, which is
a question
important.
For 3 of you guys. I drove past Nova Vines yesterday, and I was wondering, can you go in and get a clone number 1 Bordeaux
For sure.
Sauvignon Blanc and
If I have it in stock.
this other one you're talking about too?
Probably.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You in the market, John?
No, I
You want to buy a vineyard, John?
actually, quite frankly,
Vintage Wine Estates has a bunch of them for sale this week.
and they all need to be torn out and replanted.
can I
so-
get Phil? Can I pay
Wow.
Phil to do it for me?
Yes.
Does he have
Yes,
room
you
on his
can.
calendar?
No.
So you don't need it
But
to
you got
be
smacks.
profitable also?
Not for 10,
Yeah,
20
right.
years.
Real estate play part.
Yeah.
You need to
so-
hire someone to do anything. I'm your gal. I need
Okay.
jobs.
Sounds good.
Yeah, you have a vineyard plant
Yes.
as far away as you could possibly
Yes.
imagine.
So
Will you talk about that a little bit?
I have a vineyard in Mallorca. That
Wait,
my partner and I
what?
planted. Yes, we planted this year to Malvasia.
What part of the island?
On the northeastern part of the island, the town's called Poyensa.
I have to
Do
assume.
you know Mallorca?
My friend owns a hotel in Calas. Yeah. In Yaqui Larburo Hoth.
Where is that?
What?
So other side from Palma.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's on our side. So is it
Yeah.
like in the middle of the island?
It's right on the water.
I'll have to
Wait a
find
minute.
it.
been holding
What
out on
island
it.
you're talking about, and where is this?
Mallorca. So the Balearic Islands,
Okay.
Mallorca, Menorca,
Yeah.
Ibiza.
Everybody knows Ibiza.
Ibiza.
But Menorca and Mallorca are the lower islands
The
for
lower
the
islands.
rave scene.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Less
But if you want vacation,
grapevines.
yeah.
They're the island for the
rave
Germans.
scene?
The Germans and the British love Mallorca.
Oh yeah,
Party.
all inclusive hotel. You get
Yeah.
a card. They have entertainment. They call it animation.
Oh.
Is like the crew, and it's French people that come down and they do the animation, and
What
What's
does that
animation?
mean?
they put on a show at the hotel.
Is it like a,
So
a
they're like
cartoon show?
singers,
Like
actors.
Right?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Marceau.
They kind of sound like gypsy artists.
You're not supposed to say that.
I like that
Yeah.
part.
Oh, that's right. You're not, are you? Sorry.
Global.
Yeah.
No, I
Typical white guy
met a
from
bunch of
Alabama.
them there at the hotel, and then they took me to a campground in southern France when they were done with their gig at the hotel.
And what
Wait,
happened there
wait, what?
at the campground?
So I showed up on Mallorca one day. I was in Barcelona,
I woke up
and
without my
Invited?
wallet or my passport.
I just decided to take the ferry over, and then
that's
literally got out the phone book and was like, "Hey, I haven't seen Iñaki since we were like 17 or 18 years old."
Mhm.
Called him up. And I totally forgot that his parents owned a hotel.
Wow.
And then he
Oh,
came
I'm
over
sure you
and picked
totally
me up.
conveniently forgot that you were flying to an island.
Brilliant. Came and picked me up, and he was too busy to show me around the island. So he just put me up in the hotel, gave me a card, all the food, everything you want to drink free.
Wow.
And then I started hanging out with
I'm
the
going
French
to Mallorca.
animation team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you
It's beautiful there.
choose
Not good, not
this?
great snorkeling.
I mean,
though.
come on, tell us about the story back
So my partner is Spanish and Cuban. And so her family is from Mallorca. And so a lot of them still live there. And her great grandpa used to make wine from a few plots on Mallorca. And we asked if we could use one of them to replant vineyards because they have since torn out all the vineyards that he had planted. And through some negotiation, we made it happen.
Best walls ever, too, on Mallorca. The Mallorquinians build the best walls. Like, do they?
Isn't that the Phoenicians?
Governor Walls?
No, stone walls.
They do have a lot of walls.
Yeah.
A lot of they have good fences
walls.
too.
Sounds like a Hendrix tune. Stonewall.
Yeah.
Stone walls. What kind of grapes?
Did
in
we
my-
plant or what do they have?
Yeah, because I don't think I've ever had a wine from
Next
there.
time I'll have to come back and I'll bring you some Mallorcan wine.
Yes.
but
I should
they
have
have-
told you to bring Mallorcan
Yeah,
wine.
that was stupid.
That was stupid.
So
Wait. I want to know what kind of.
No,
What do
I
they?
know.
I mean,
What do they grow?
So they grow a lot.
What are you growing?
We are growing Malvasia de Sitges, so
Okay.
a native Malvasia is native to so many parts of the Mediterranean, but like the native part to Sitges, which is on the other side of the island. Or actually, no, Sitges is in Barcelona. Ours is Malvasia de Banyalbufar, which is the same as Malvasia de Sitges. So Banyalbufar is on the opposite side of Mallorca to where our vineyard is. So it's like a 30-minute drive. And then Sitges is in Barcelona. And then what they mostly grow is Cayet, Montenegro. They have Prensal, which is a white. So Cayet, Montenegro, red grapes. Prensal, white grape. They have Giro, which is also a white grape. They have a lot of native grapes that they blend together typically. Some single varietal stuff, but it's a really interesting scene right now. It's like a very exciting time to make wine in Mallorca because there isn't a lot of like, it's a lot of mass produced wine. So the like more independent artisanal winemakers are like figuring everything out and kind of finding their way. And it's a really small community. So it's like really easy to just get connected with everybody.
My friend Iñaki owns the largest beverage distribution company on the island too.
You're in it now, baby. You're in.
It is now. I need to get some of that wine.
You got it. In 3 to 5 years, we'll make the wine.
Awesome. It's time for it.
You don't need to make a profit for 3 to 5. No.
I don't even make a profit from this wine. So why would I want to make a profit from wine in
It's passion. All about passion.
It'll cost even more to get it over here.
Can I pay the rent with passion? No.
I ask myself that every day.
Wouldn't that be the ultimate, is to be able to sell it all over there?
Yeah.
So not even have to put it on a boat.
We might have to. I mean, it's not gonna be a lot of wine. It's not like we don't have a ton of vines yet, but
what's the?
I mean, that's so exciting to get to do that. You know, I mean,
it's really cool.
You see, you know, the last time I was in Europe, you look at real estate and you see these things down in the south of France, these blocks of property for sale, and you go, you know, it's actually pretty reasonable.
It is
compared to California standards.
It's very reasonable.
You mean like it's available?
People ask me often,
and nice,
like,
it's attainable.
Why don't you farm vineyards in California? Why don't you own land here? And I'm like, I can't afford to own land here. And I say, but we have land in Mallorca. And they're like, how does that make sense? It's because it's so much. I mean, obviously it's a different situation. Like it's in my partner's family owns the land, but there's a plot of land across the street from where ours is that's for sale for it's like insultingly cheap. Yeah. And so it's more affordable to fly across the world to farm.
And are all the resources there that you need?
Yeah.
I mean, there's an infrastructure. It's not like you're going to an island that's never had vines.
Not at all. No, it's all set up. Everyone is so eager to help. We have a man who lives down the street. We call him Tractor Man, and he has a tractor and he has sheep, and he loves helping us. He stops by without us asking. He'll just like go check on the land and let us know how it is. Bring his sheep. He's so kind.
So how often do you get over there?
So far once a year for a month at a time, but now that the vineyard is actually planted, I think we'll go more frequently for less amount of time. And check on it. And
how do you fly?
On an airplane
with a cape.
Okay. Which route do you take to get to Mallorca?
It depends. We typically stop in. I didn't mean to. That was very rude of me.
Carpet, broomsticks.
It's fine. I walked right in there.
Bam. We fly through like Frankfurt, or usually there's usually one stop somewhere along the way, but there isn't really one route that we take. It's maybe through Barcelona.
The one that has the best rate.
Exactly. Right. The cheapest flight is the one we take.
And you don't actually fly into Mallorca, right? Do you just go into Barcelona and take the ferry?
Oh, no, we fly from Barcelona to Mallorca. There are flights now that it's so popular to go there from Germany and from London.
Hourly.
You can fly from anywhere, those two places, but like anywhere in Europe and get there in like an hour.
I'm sure those party flights, like everybody going to Vegas,
Right.
Yeah.
You land
get on
in Ibiza and everybody's like cheering and clapping and already high.
Yeah.
Isabella, how much time on skins?
So
this wine?
This was only 22 hours on skins. I typically do a little bit longer or like double that because let me start over. I've been experimenting with skin contact for this vineyard because the fruit is always just so perfect and everything about it is just like it ferments perfectly. And I think orange wine or skin contact wine needs to be healthy. Like you can't really use subpar fruit to make a skin contact wine. So thank you. Wait. Okay. So the first year I did like 32-ish hours and that was kind of perfect. Like that wine, I'll bring that wine next time too when I bring Mallorcan wine because that's like frankly the best wine I've ever made. It was like perfect in every way. And then the next year I did 46 hours. So it was much more orange and much more structured. And then this year I kind of tapered it back because I wanted it to get closer to the first year. I wanted it to be more elegant with like a little bit of skin contact. And is there.
Yeah, there's like a spine of skin contact experience, texture, sort of that like hold it all together. But
22 hours.
It's not like the thing that you think of first. It's not like, oh, this has got a lot of.
Oh, what do you think of first when you're tasting this?
The thing that I think of first is the citrus and minerality.
Very pithy.
Yeah, super pithy is a good word.
Yeah.
Bright, but you know, I guess the question is, what are your sort of winemaking philosophies on it? Because you know, everybody at Magnolia has varying degrees of nattyhood.
Yes.
Natty hats.
Well, and these are so you know, these are squeaky clean for sure. So how do you approach what you're doing here?
So I call my winemaking philosophy minimal intervention. So I do as little as possible to the wine. I will intervene when necessary, but I really only use a little bit of sulfur when it is necessary to me. So all of the wines that we're tasting today, save for actually the next one, has no sulfur in it at all. But all of them get a little bit of sulfur, and I do nothing else. I just native yeast fermentation. I let it go, which really didn't go well for me one year. And I have had a wine in barrel for 2 years that I finally bottled because it was just like not working out. But to answer your question, minimal intervention. I don't believe in dogma. I don't believe in like always doing one thing. I think I like to pay attention to the fermentation and pay attention to like the health of the grapes, and I just see what the wine needs. But I also only choose to work with people who farm their vineyards in ways that I agree with and like who produce fruit that is healthy. Yep. Which is very expensive, but it's worth it.
It's all about sense of place, isn't it?
The big ding.
And you want to taste where you were when you got the wine, where it's supposed to represent.
Right.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
And it does that.
Thank you.
You know, I mean, it's beautiful wines.
So is the skin contact with you, is that, is it that you're trying to shape the wine in some way? Or what is the spirit behind it? Like, did you do the Me Vineyard in skin contact also? Is it like, you know, trying to show the difference? Where is that for you?
So the skin contact idea came to me because it was more about texture. It was the fact that like I love Sauvignon Blanc so much, and I didn't always love Sauvignon Blanc. Right. Actually, I never thought I would work with Sauvignon Blanc, but I believe that it is the grape that has the most potential in California, and there's the most variety of it. Like it tastes completely different in
all sorts of climates.
Yes.
It does great in.
It's really, really fascinating, and
all the clones, right? I mean,
yeah, right. Exactly. And I'll have a new Sauvignon Blanc that I'm making this harvest that I'm very excited about. But the skin contact thing, it was honestly just like an intuitive decision. Like I felt like this vineyard, the way this vineyard performs and the way this fruit is, it just like, I love how high toned it is. I love the way that it's just like it's like so ethereal. It's so just like, it's exactly the kind of wine I like to drink. I just wanted it to have a little bit more texture. Yeah. And I've had a lot of fun experimenting over the years, like with how much skin contact it needs or like how it kind of reacts to different amounts of skin contact. And it's more just like a fun thing for me. Yeah. And
awesome answer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Because like most people, is that what they use Semillon for when they do Sauvignon Blanc? If they want like more texture to the wine or a little more weight.
Like the other clones, like the Sauvignon Muscat clone.
Yeah.
Right.
Would be a place where you bring, you know, aromatic and textural elements.
I love Sauvignon Muscat.
Yeah.
It's very cool. But for the Claire Annalise, I decided direct press because I think it's just there's so much to it on its own. It doesn't need anything else. And not saying the Ascona needs anything else. It's just interesting.
I think that if the Me Vineyard had too much skin contact, it would lose its varietal integrity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would just become an orange wine. And I'm really hesitant, or I'm really careful to not make just another orange wine because I think it can be a crutch. Like skin contact can just be the thing that people look for. They just want like a tannic white wine, and that's not what I want to make.
I'm totally down with that. I'm enjoying skin contact. Sam is going to release a wine. I don't know when, but it's
one of these days.
A Semillon from Rossi Ranch that they did like, what was it, 10% skin contact or something?
Last year? I remember.
Yeah, all those different.
It's so fucking good, and
we made it accidentally in 2023.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I worked at Magnolia last year, so I'm intimately.
Oh, cool! Familiar. And there's this like white tannin. It's fun to talk about, and it's got this the feeling in your mouth when you're drinking this wine that has great acidity, but also has that like just tiny little chalkiness to it is amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's something that people I think would really enjoy if they were introduced to it. But when you talk in terms of orange wine, they're like, they think funky.
And sometimes, and honestly, like if you are exposed to enough orange wines, that's just like the tannin is so overwhelming, you don't want it. Like it gets orange wine gets a bad name, and the acid in this wine, especially, I think it's like the acid can go toe to toe with the tannin. I think there has to be like a nice balance. You can't just make an orange wine that is just tannic. It's like it has to have some other element to it that makes it fascinating.
And I think you're totally spot on that it becomes a crutch too. I think that sort of oxidative orange wine flavor can cover a lot of flaw.
Totally.
And you know, where a conventional winemaker would use, you know, oak or an additive or something. In a natural wine, you can blend in some real oxidized orange wine
and be in fashion.
And you know, looks good in a clear hock bottle. And, and
why do I taste ferrous? A bit of iron in orange wines. Does that come with the? I mean, I mean, that's all of it seems to have
that sort of
slight metallic,
like,
a little rusty
textural sensation in your mouth of that. Yeah, it's rusty.
Yeah.
It's oxidative.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's why, you know, the reason rust is orange and the wine is orange is the same thing.
MJ Toller in the house. From New York City, man. Hey,
MJ,
join us.
Sit down, bro.
Flew across the country in your 16600 tie-dye.
Dude, come on now.
You
Always representing. Gotta represent. What's up, Big John?
Hi, I'm Isabella.
Hi, Isabella.
Nice to meet you.
MJ, what's going on?
Oh,
on a Tuesday in Sonoma.
You went to get me some glasses. I am in town for the Ridge 50th anniversary of Lytton Springs, first volume, 1974. Nice. So that's exciting. Missed the party here Sunday, unfortunately. So,
it was a good one.
I heard.
Yeah.
Barbara told me.
Yeah, 200 of our closest friends.
Yeah.
And a very young crowd, too. Very young and happy.
Well, part of it is the band brought, you know, these guys. You give them some wine at the end of the show, and you're like, I probably should have carded those guys.
Probably.
Did Barbara drop you off?
Say that.
No, I know.
They're all 21. They're all over, but
I know.
You know, they're in their 20s. You know, Where's West out of Mill Valley. I think they're out in LA now. They're, you know, in the lab. They're recording music, but the lead guitarist is a kid named Matty Mishna, who is a Bob Weir protege. Bobby kind of took him under his wing as a high school student and brought him into the studio and TRI and has given him some guitars, and they just shred it. They did, they do this sort of a Grateful Dead mostly cover set for us, and then they busted in some of their original, this new music they're making, and it's fucking killer.
Well, I gotta get out here.
And then all their friends from Mill Valley showed up. So
and
that
name
made it a little younger. Where's West? That's the drummer, because every time they get on stage, he's not there.
Where's West?
Where's West?
I'm gonna see you later, Bart.
Yes, you are.
I'm in town. You know where I'm staying. Let's get together, guys.
Okay. And do we have some time for you and my dad? My dad is in.
Oh, he's
crack
okay.
rib and all.
We'll figure it out.
Okay.
All right. Text me. Call me.
You should drink Issa wines, but we'll get you next.
Give me next time. All right.
All right. Talk to you a little bit.
Bye.
In and out, baby.
Okay.
Like a burger.
Right? Have you been to In-N-Out yet?
No. I mean, I drove right by it.
What the hell? Okay. All right.
It's funny. He posted a picture. He was on the Golden Gate Bridge, and I said, "Are you going to In-N-Out?"
And
he goes, "I hope so."
And you know, it was the latency of Instagram. He had probably passed that one night there at, you know, what is that, Tiburon Mill Valley exit? Yeah,
at Strawberry Plaza or whatever it is.
All right.
Issa Wines.
More Issa Wines.
Back to Issa Wines.
That commercial break was brought to you by Beats, Vines, and Vibes.
Life. The Black Wine Guy Experience 2.0.
All right.
He's been doing really
happy
well.
wife, happy life.
Yes.
A lot of great people.
So our next wine is a Blanco de Merlot from the Sonoma Valley.
Oh.
Yeah. So I direct pressed some Merlot in a basket press. And it was
Where's the Alder Vineyard?
So it's not far from here. It's like, I'm really bad with directions, so I can't tell you which direction.
That's all right.
But it's very close to where we are right now.
Cool.
Maybe there's a lot of alder wood there to smoke my fish with.
Happy wife, happy life. I can't believe someone else isn't using that name.
I know. Well, they might. I think with cuvee names, it's less precious.
You're right.
You can use the same cuvee name. I went through painstaking. It was a painstaking process to get to Isa wines. I had so many different wine label names before I got here because everything was
taken.
Yeah.
And then I almost actually someone tried to block Isa wines and they were not successful, thankfully. But Happy
Under
Wife,
what pretense?
they have a restaurant called Isa and they wanted it to be. They were like, no, you can't name your wine label that. And my trademark lawyer had to deal with it. But this wine is an homage to my best friend. His name's Bauman, and people always ask if we're married, but we're not. And he always says, "Happy wife, happy life."
Perfect.
Yeah. And it's a Blanco de Merlot, like I said, from Sonoma Valley.
Spiritual husband.
That's exactly what I say.
I like that. Yeah, it's a good thing.
Are we on the same wavelength?
Totally. It's on your
Or did
website,
you read my
man.
website?
Come on.
You actually freaked me out for a second. I was like, how did you know?
Thank
Great website, apparently. I should have done some research, apparently.
So, as I mentioned, this wine has no sulfur in it. It was a very healthy ferment. It was
with acid like that. What do you need sulfur for?
What did you say?
With acid like that, what do you need sulfur for?
Exactly. So this was a stroke of inspiration at the last minute. Jack wanted to kill me last year because I was like, hey, I want to make a wine like tomorrow. And he was like, what? And I was like, okay, I want to pick the grapes and I'm going to bring them into the winery and I'm going to find a basket press. And he was like, okay. And we somehow pulled this wine off. I used half of the fruit for Happy Wife, Happy Life. And then the other half is blended into the Merlot that we'll taste next.
That's what I was going to ask. Ooh,
so this is not a bleed. This was a direct to press, and then the balance for red wine. Yeah, that explains. Yeah, it's delicious.
Thank you. I'm really proud of it. I didn't know if it was going to work.
I mean, you would. I would never. I would. I mean, what does white Merlot taste like? I have no idea, but. It's just it almost doesn't even come off as a rosé. It comes off as a white wine.
And that's my intention. Yeah,
it's a full mouth experience.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
That's how I'll tell people this is a full mouth experience.
It is. Yeah. It's like
there's a lot
all over. Yeah,
you can quote him for a quarter.
I will. I actually, Jack and I fought a lot over the fact that it is not a rosé. It is a white wine, and I very intentionally made it as a white wine. It does have a little bit of color, as you can see, but it's just like so oxidative and so.
Just slightly darker than the other.
I mean, yeah.
And it is not. I think when people think of white Merlot, they think sweet wine, and it is not sweet. It is very dry.
I don't think of sweet wine when I think of white Merlot.
What do you think of when you think of white Merlot?
I've never heard of white Merlot.
That hadn't crossed my mind.
I remember when Lycan was doing their white Pinot, and my brother-in-law was a wine club member of theirs. I think they were actually on the show. Maybe?
Yeah, we had on.
But I was like, what the fuck's a white Pinot? You mean Pinot Blanc? And he's like, no, it's a white Pinot. And I'm like,
direct press. What we do now.
But that seems hella expensive.
Blanc de Noir.
It's interesting.
For Pinot.
You mean like the bottle will be expensive?
Well, no, just to buy Pinot at whatever it is, $6,000 a ton, and then like make a.
But there's plenty of Pinot that's not that expensive, you know.
Okay.
May I taste these?
Especially 2024.
Right. 2024 is going to be a winemaker's year with the.
How close should Bart?
Why would? Yeah.
How close should this taste to Merlot then, as a white Merlot? Can I A/B these? Can I get another glass?
What? I don't understand the question. I mean, it tastes like what it is.
Right. As opposed
how about if we try the Merlot, John, that was made from it, the red, and then you can draw some conclusions.
However, this Merlot is made mostly from the Massa vineyard. So there's only a little bit of that fruit in here. This is from Carmel Valley.
Cool. Okay.
A vineyard that Ian Brand farms. Are we ready for this one?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
He wants John wants extra glasses.
I'm good with just the one.
So it's a different site for the most part.
So this is Carmel Valley, right?
Yes, this is Carmel Valley. Also a very fascinating vineyard that a lot of winemakers I respect work with.
There's some Chenin in that vineyard.
There is Chenin. Yeah.
Do you have any experience with Chenin, Bart?
Not enough. Not enough.
Bart makes one of Oprah Winfrey's favorite Chenin Blancs.
What?
Do I really have to?
Why didn't you tell me that? I love Oprah Winfrey.
Oh, she doesn't love Chenin Blanc. She likes Oprah Winfrey.
I actually do. I love Chenin Blanc.
I was like, oh, she loves Oprah Winfrey.
No, Oprah Winfrey is like everything to me. Have you spoken to her?
Have you met Oprah? This is Oprah right here.
I have, actually.
You have?
I turned her on to the classic Mai Tai in Hawaii.
No, you didn't.
I did.
Stop it.
No.
Tell me everything.
She calls him and says, "Can you give me your favorite wines for Thanksgiving?"
My magazine.
You're yanking my chain.
Yeah. I mean, it's not.
Look it up.
There are things
you
there.
can Google it.
Yeah, you can Google it and you'll find it.
What do I Google?
I don't know. Oprah's favorite Shannon. I don't know.
And you talk to her?
Yeah, I have talked to Oprah in the past.
How is she?
The one person that I actually
Fabulous.
felt bad for when it came to paparazzi.
Oh,
Like bad.
that's so sad.
Yeah.
In Hawaii?
Yeah.
That's her favorite place. She loves Hawaii.
People out on boats out in the ocean with long lenses,
That's so
6
weird
feet
and
long, trying to
gross.
catch a glimpse of her like sticking a chicken nugget in her mouth or whatever.
Leave her alone.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Ugh. What's the opposite of this?
Yeah, I know.
I don't know.
Reductive ding.
With the spit cup?
Yeah, spit into the spit cup.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, well, that's a very cool story.
I'm not really sure what the story is.
As an employee of the Four Seasons Hotels, you're not really allowed to talk about.
Now,
the-
Brian, I do have a listing here on
Maybe
on the Google that says how to get your product and brand featured on Oprah's favorite list. So
If
there are
Oprah's
now
listening,
instructions. Other
I would
than you.
I would love Oprah to feature Issa wines if she's hearing this.
I'm sure you can.
You gotta get
These instructions are right here. I can send them.
Yeah.
Thank you. I would love that.
Okay,
Okay, so this is
history is nothing more.
Yeah,
than a
you've
series of-
figured it out. You need to run the show. Thank you. You
guys are
just
monkeys.
figred it out.
Like where have we been? Where are we
She's like,
going?
okay, the Merlot.
Merlot from Massa Vineyard, which is it's like 1,400 feet elevation. I think it's like we went from 600 meters, whatever I said, to 1,400 with this Merlot, and then that Ascona Vineyard is 2,500.
Yeah, and Carmel Valley is so unique because it's at that elevation.
Mm-hmm.
It's tucked down in the valley right next to Carmel,
Right.
and all that wind going over the mountain
Totally.
into Salinas, right?
It's a really cool.
And this is an old vineyard too, I believe, right?
Yeah, it's an old vineyard. I don't know exactly when it was planted.
I want to say it was like a 70s
Yeah.
planted.
It's been a very prestigious vineyard, and I never thought I would be able to work with this fruit, but I got very lucky last year. And so I jumped on the opportunity. It's all whole cluster too. That's
100% whole cluster.
Yes, besides I destemmed the small amount of Merlot from the Alder Vineyard and I put that on top. But it was I was really worried that it would be way too much, but it is not at all. It's very
2020 it's a great year for whole cluster.
Yeah.
Because you probably, picked this 2 or 3 weeks later than you would have in a normal vintage.
Yeah.
And
late pick.
gives that time for those stems to lignify a little bit, and you don't get, because it's not green.
No.
You definitely get some stemmy like structure, but it's not green.
But it's still very
Yeah.
elegant.
Yeah.
It sucked to punch down. I hated punching it down.
Yeah, but
But
Okay, so the number one thing I get out of AB tasting these back to back
Mhm.
is the mouth feel and the burst of juiciness from both. They're almost exactly the same. This is a little more intense, tiny bit, but they have the exact same mouth feel to me, and they both explode in just a burst of flavor and texture. Beautiful.
I mean, for me, Merlot
Really
is,
interesting. You should try this. There's an extra glass here.
for me,
It's clean, yeah.
thank you.
Merlot is that Santa Rosa plum, which when you think about biting into a plum, it has that sort of that explosion of
And that
flavor.
snap.
Yeah, that snap.
If it's not over.
Well, and grapes, like it. I had this
You're gonna talk
conversation
about
with someone
grapes.
the other day where they were trying one of the wines and they're like, "Ooh, it tastes like grapes." And I said, "Isn't it interesting that we never use grapes as a descriptor when we're talking about wine, about something that is made from grapes?"
In my very Sami time, I have used grapes as a descriptor, especially when selling wine on a restaurant floor. I just use the word primary, and then when people ask what that means, I say it's grapey.
Right.
And like Beaujolais and like a lot of really juicy fun, and like the wines that are in fashion right now are often grapey. People like want to taste the grapes.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
Yeah.
But you're right. You typically like amongst like wine circles, we don't talk about grapiness.
But I would almost, in a more classical sense, if somebody described a wine as grapey, it's not a flaw, but it's,
not fast,
it's
not compelling.
Not compelling, but it totally can be.
Yeah.
And the other thing is all grapes taste different, right? So if it tastes...
Another.
How do you make wine? I make wine with grapes. How do you fly to Mallorca? I fly in an airplane.
Yeah.
But if the wine tastes like the grapes that it was made with, then
So maybe there's a purity
there's a
to
purity
it, right?
Right.
Yeah. That's totally what I get out of this.
It's purity.
Yeah.
You get that
and it's,
sense of place and that sense of varietal, and there's not a whole bunch of other shit in the way. There's no,
and I think it comes from wines that are bottled young and very fresh, right? You get more of that.
So I just tasted the Blanco de Merlot next to the Merlot, and I agree the mouthfeel is very similar. It's like a I don't even know how to describe it, though.
Well, Brian always says it's so juicy. It just makes, that's
juicy but lean. Like,
to me, it's
there's
about
this,
about like that mid palate presence. So
Tell
that
us about that mid-palate, Sam.
where it like shows up through the mid palate. I love a wine and it doesn't like fall off.
Yeah,
that's one of my biggest pet peeves of a wine. Is,
and the temp
falls
on
off at
this
the
is
end.
perfect.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, tasting it like that was a really good experience. I enjoyed that.
You had a good time.
Always.
That's really what we're here for, John.
Cigarette.
This has been so fun. I'm having a fun time with you guys.
So, Isabella, what are you making this year?
This year, I am probably only making white wine. I'm paring down quite a bit because making wine is expensive and I have a lot of people to pay and I don't like being late on my bills. So I am trying really hard not to do that. And so I am making...
no emotional decisions, right?
I say that now, and I actually wasn't going to make wine at all this year. That's the hot topic, but I just can't not make wine. I got really itchy about it.
I make so many emotional buying decisions.
And I'm sure I will. I mean, especially if there is a lot of fruit available
I got something
this year.
I was going to say, and I feel this year's going to be a year where it's going to be like, hey, you want some of this? You want some of this?
Ask me in a few months and we'll see what I actually did. But the plan right now is to make actually Sauvignon Muscat from the Denmark Street Vineyard.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Which I'm really excited about. And then, well, it's a little, not all Sauvignon Muscat, but there's a large part of it will be.
All Sauvignon Muscat can be kind of overwhelming sometimes.
Is that what Jack makes for Fuego?
He uses a different part of the vineyard, but he does use the Denmark Street Vineyard.
Yeah. Oh, I love that fruit.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited
Cool.
to use it. And then I'll make the Claire Annalise again, the Me Vineyard. And then
you got to make your partner's wine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't be. I'd be in the doghouse if I
Definitely.
that one. And then I'm going to make the Blanco de Merlot again, actually, but I'll make a little bit more of it this year because I'll use the whole vineyard since it worked out. And then if there is more Massa Merlot, I'll make it, but I don't know.
And how much are you making of these wines?
Very, very small amount. So
Yeah, because you're sold out on your website when you go on there. Like everything's
Except
none
the
of this has been
Merlot.
released yet. So you are this is
Okay.
a sneak peek for you.
gone. Oh, thank you.
So
Okay.
That's scooping the world.
yes.
Yeah.
So I made about how much did I make? I made 2 tons of the Claire Annalise last year. So
Okay. 100 cases.
thank you.
Yeah.
And then I made 25 cases each of the Santa Cruz Mountains, the Ascona, and then of the Blanco de Merlot. And then I made 100-ish cases of the Merlot, maybe a little bit more.
Cool.
Yeah, so I don't have a lot of wine. I would like to have more wine, but I need more money to make more wine.
Where's it all go? Who's your tribe that's buying your wine?
It's all kind of all over the place. I have a distributor in New York, Core Wine Co. They're really great. And then I sell all of the wine myself in California. So it just, there's DTC, there's a lot of restaurants in the Bay have the wines. You can see on my website, there's a list of them. I sell some in LA. But I'm honestly looking for more distribution because I can't do it all myself anymore. That's part of the problem. It's a lot. It's a very full-time job on top of all of my other jobs. And I just need a little help. So ideally I will distribute more. I'm looking for distribution in Wisconsin right now. And if any other states want to distribute the wine, I'm very open to it. But there isn't a lot to distribute. So I have to be.
That's the thing, right? When you make those small amounts is that, you're just giving them 10 cases or something. And
I mean, I would
fingers.
give them more than that if they wanted, but it all depends. I mean, like distributing the wine, you take like a huge pay cut, but it's just so much nicer to get that money right away. So that, because the cash flow of making wine is nearly impossible.
Cash flow rules everything around me.
Show does. Dollar bill, y'all.
Yep.
What was that? Pardon me?
It's a generational thing, John. Don't worry.
By the time they explain it,
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be on to something else.
All right.
It is so hot here now.
I know.
You were not lying. It's
The fog burned off. You know, we're
It's
getting
nice.
There's just no wind.
Beautiful.
And so it's just still right now.
I
Yeah.
like it. We're under a nice tent, but the temperature.
You're acclimated to San Francisco
I
weather.
know.
When I got back from 2 weeks in Cape Cod and Atlanta and got back to Sonoma and it was like 95 degrees, but there was no humidity. I was like, oh, it's a great day. Everybody's like, oh my God, it's so hot.
Yeah.
And now I'm, I was only there for a couple weeks. So now I'm back to like, oh yeah, and this is weather.
You're a Sonoma boy.
I'm a Sonoma boy.
Yeah. It gets so ungodly hot here. I lived here in 2020, and the day I moved in, it was 105 degrees, and I lived in a place with no air conditioning.
Of
and I thought I made a
course.
terrible mistake.
Of course.
Yeah, it was too much.
All right. Can we ask you about music?
Yeah.
What kind of music you listening to?
Okay. I love pop music,
Yeah.
and I love all kinds of music, actually.
Pop or pot?
Pop.
Okay.
Pop.
I love pop music too. I actually grew up listening to the Grateful Dead and like Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young and all those
Pop
guys.
music.
But pop music.
Yes.
I love pop music. And I listen to a lot of, do you know Moses Sumney?
Mm-mm.
That is, he's like my favorite artist. He's kind of, I don't even know how I would describe him. I would just look him up.
Say it again.
Moses Sumney. He's, I guess you could say alternative, but I feel like that's kind of a cop out
Totally.
genre. Hi. Well, that's okay.
We have to have commerce.
Yeah.
That's UPS getting it there.
This is a plug.
Always
for
my
UPS.
favorite.
Thanks.
That's him. Yeah, it's kind of like
Prince-like.
yeah. He has his.
Don't want to play more than 5
R&B.
seconds.
So we don't get sued.
Yeah.
I love like it's a hard question to answer because I feel like I'm in sort of a like hole musically right now. My brain is I have ADHD and I can't focus on stuff for too long. So sometimes I listen to the same stuff over and over because it just like centers me.
Yeah.
So it's a lot.
What are you guys listening to at Magnolia? Do you get to pick sometimes?
Yes.
Depends on whose grapes are coming in that day.
Kind of. And it depends on who has control of the Sonos. So I like to play like Blink 182 and that kind of stuff at Magnolia because it gives me a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And then we had an Australian guy last year who played a lot of Australian, like, what's the word?
Shout out
Punk.
to Simo.
Yeah, Simo, if you're listening.
Come back,
Go
Simo.
fuck yourself. And then what else? Jack really likes country music.
Really?
He looks like Sturgill fucking Simpson.
Yeah. But whenever he puts on country, I like to change it, and he really doesn't like that.
Yeah. No, good job.
Thank you. I also love Bad Bunny, but I think that's pop.
Yeah. All right. And what kind of? I want to know the horrible kind of junk food you're eating at home.
Oh, I don't want to disappoint you, but I don't
New
eat
segment on the Winemakers podcast.
Yeah.
I do love In-N-Out. I love In-N-Out. I love like when I go out. What is junk food? I love hot dogs. I love
It's the summer of the hot dog.
corn dogs.
The glizzy. Everybody's all about hot dogs
I
this
don't
summer.
like the word glizzy. I think it's gross.
It does sound pretty disgusting.
Is that like a slider comment or something?
No, it's just a hot dog.
It's just
I
a
don't
hot
know.
dog.
They
I don't
just
know where
made
it
a new
came.
word for a hot dog, and it doesn't make sense.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
no, it does. It must be Gen Z. It has all those Z's in the word.
Totally.
For shizzle. Isn't that a Snoop term?
Yes.
But I love chips. I love kettle chips, and I love what was the chip I wanted? I love Ruffles.
But you're not you're not going to grab a Mountain Dew and a bag of Doritos.
No.
Are you? Okay, I didn't think you were that kind of gal. Thank God.
I like
Diet
Dr.
Mountain Dew,
Pepper.
like that weird guy who's running for vice president.
Who?
Oh.
No. They quit today.
JD Vance quit today.
Oh, everybody did.
Everybody quit today.
Everybody out. Yeah, just give it to Harris.
I believed you.
Nobody
I was
for
like, that's so
president. No,
great.
Wavy
That's
Gravy
really
says
great
nobody
for
for
us.
president. There we go. Because
Oh,
nobody
you're so
keeps
convincing.
nobody keeps their promises.
Lester Chambers.
Nobody
for
listens.
president.
Right.
I have my non
Wavy
Keith
Gravy,
Richards.
right?
it's nobody for president is the most brilliant presidential campaign of all time.
Because nobody does listen.
Nobody,
Nobody does anything.
nobody does anything.
It's true.
Nobody keeps their promises.
But what about
Nobody doesn't lie.
Go ahead, Bart.
Nobody doesn't lie.
Let it loose.
Right?
Yeah.
Nobody.
That's true.
What's the Ron Adams connection to the brain of the Golden State Warriors? But he like shows up on your Instagram every once in a
He
while.
is my best friend of 30 years' dad. So he's
Okay.
like my uncle. He's like my dad. He's like my fam. He is my family.
Well, good fam.
Yes, he's a really good
Do-
guy.
Yeah.
What kind of wine does Ron Adams drink?
Oh, Ron Adams loves Italian wine. He loves Italian reds. He loves Isa wines too.
Okay.
He doesn't like
Smart.
the whites as much. I probably shouldn't be saying that on air, but he doesn't love.
Maybe you should be making wine for him.
I try. I mean, this Merlot is for Ron Adams. Let's be real. He will like the Merlot, but he's a big Italian red wine guy, and he has a very nice cellar.
There's the NBA is so like wine centric.
They are now, yeah. Like Draymond's drinking DRC.
As long as the owner's buying it, right?
Yeah.
Well, they have taste too.
Yeah.
They're at a point
Steph
in their lives
Curry
where
loves
they're
white
enjoying
burgundy.
life.
Yeah.
Jimmy Buckets.
The USA back to the Olympics. I think they spent like $75,000 and had very specific requests for French wine that they couldn't get here to stock their. I can't imagine they're in the village with the cardboard beds. I'm sure that they're in the Four Seasons probably. Four Seasons fairs.
Yep.
An entire
with
floors.
a cellar. Their like compound is stocked with the list of wines that Steph and LeBron want.
Sam, I see this job in your future.
Yeah, sure.
I think Oprah can make it happen. Oprah, if you're listening.
Oprah, if you're listening.
D Wade's calling the games, and so he's he's bringing some of his shit over.
Can you imagine the wine that they're? I mean, yeah.
But do you think they're really drinking wine while they're in the Olympics? I don't think.
Yes, 100%.
How are they drinking? Yes. I don't think they're drinking that much.
You got to eat dinner.
I know, but
before and after,
athletes don't drink that much.
No,
not when they're in the Olympics.
When the basketball players are on the road and they're going to dinner and drinking wine.
And
the games.
Wine.
They drink
the
wine.
stories from the '92 Barcelona. They were like coming in at 5-6 o'clock in the morning because they knew they were just wiping floors. So they were.
Right. I think these guys maybe are paying a little more attention than '92.
So.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But that is very cool. I like that the NBA likes wine. It's good for business.
Yeah, it's great.
Great marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Great marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they finally swam in the Seine.
Yeah.
Isn't there E. coli in there?
Definitely.
Not much these days.
What's your limit, John?
I've been down to the
A
mouth.
normal amount.
I thought it was really cool to go to the mouth of the Seine River. It sounds very romantic.
Is that where all the E.
Love
coli
romance
comes
around
from?
That's where it ends up.
It's just basically a hole. A very moldy hole. It's like, really, this is a park? This is a state or a country historical marker? No.
Can we name this episode a very moldy hole?
The moldy hole. Now, Tony Bourdain would go there. Yeah.
Wow. Just wow.
See, we have no fun at all, do we?
I know.
Clearly, we like the Isa wine. Getting a little loose here. Down at the moldy hole.
Back to season 1 of this Winemakers
I
podcast.
have not been overserved today, however.
It's not episode 2.
Oh, God.
Isa, how do people out there in the listening world find you, find your wines, plug all your...
Yeah, when are these being released?
So these wines will officially be released August 24th. So in about 2 weeks at Habibi Bar in San Francisco. There will be a party.
Well timed on your
Wait,
part.
where is that bar?
It's in Russian Hill.
Okay.
Yeah, you said it awful
on Union and Hyde. Habibi Bar.
Habibi.
Habibi?
Habibi. Habibi Bar.
Just like it sounds.
In Russian
You throwing
Hill.
a party?
Stop it, sir.
I'm throwing a release party. My dad will be there. He loves Isa Wine's release parties. And
Who's
that'll
your
be the
dad?
official day. Who is my dad?
He's your dad, and he should love those
That's
release
true.
parties.
That's true.
And who is your dad anyway?
His name's Chris.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris.
Hi, Dad. And that's the day they'll be released, and they'll be live online. So you can go to drinkisawines.com.
And how do we get invited to the party?
You are right now. This is it.
Thank you. What day of the week is that?
It's on a Saturday. There will be a flyer on my Instagram, which is isa.wines. All the information is always there.
And you're providing parking, I'm assuming?
No.
Okay.
Nor passenger rear windows.
You can take the trolley, though. The trolley goes right past that bar. It's very fun.
Okay.
Fly in, Brian.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
On an
Take your
airplane.
plane.
On an
There
airplane.
you go.
Take your
Take
magic
airplane.
carpet.
Yeah. That's how you fly, right?
Wow.
Well, it's one way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your arms will get awful
You're
tired.
awful young, but I could tell some stories.
But the wines are also available in New York through Core Wine Co.
How do you spell core?
COEUR. Like heart.
glad I
I don't
asked.
say it.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
like the French word.
Coeur
for-
d'Alene.
Coeur,
Thank you. Coeur.
Okay.
I embarrass myself when I try and speak French.
un peu,
Un peu.
canard, confit,
Did we miss anything,
vin
Isa?
rouge.
I don't know. Do you have any more questions for me? Did I say it all?
What didn't we ask?
You did pretty good.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was great.
Thank you so much.
You're natural.
I'm hired.
You're hired.
Right, exactly.
Perfect.
Bart, shout out.
$100 an hour.
Well, yeah.
How's the tank, buddy?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Tank going well?
The tank is going well. Yeah. We, matter of fact, yesterday I had a surprise visitor, which was great. I sat and tasted with Rodrigo Soto.
Oh.
Rodrigo's going to come and be on the podcast here in the next couple weeks.
He's got a new project.
He's got a new project.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a new project. He has his project.
Yeah, his project.
He is no longer associated with his previous employer, and they're going full time. Sonoma Valley fruit,
A lot of Moon Mountain.
Moon Mountain District,
Far Mountain.
Far Mountain. Check it out, farmountain.com. So that was great to hang out with him. We reminisced about when we worked together. Tasting rooms doing great. Thank you, John.
Excellent.
By appointment, make it on the website.
I'm so sorry. Can I mention one more thing?
Yeah.
Of course.
Speaking of
Please.
tasting room, I am a part of a collective tasting room that just opened called Dose Bar.
Oh, you're part of Dose Bar.
Yes,
Okay,
which is
great.
about a block away from here. It's on the Sonoma Square.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to steal your thunder,
No.
but you reminded me.
No. This is what you're here for.
And my wines we'll have an Isa Wines party there once my licensing goes through, but that should be sometime in the next few months. So come see
And
me there.
where is it on the
It's-
plaza?
The former home of Bump Cellars.
Oh, right.
So right
you know,
on the block.
down 4 doors down Broadway from the corner.
I know it well.
So
Near the ciders.
So you should because we'll eventually probably have a group of them on. But
We should
tell us
go
about
there.
how it's working there. There's how
Mhm.
many of you there?
Okay.
Will your wines be poured every day or only when you're there,
Yes.
etc.? So
So
just kind of talk that out.
There is one Isa Wines, Atella, Las Vivas. There's Bardos. There's Marioni. There's Fresco, Jack. There's North American Press, and then I think Stagiaire as well. So there's 8 of us so far. And all of our wines will be available. We're all kind of most of us are going through licensing stuff, getting our O2 dupe O2s, but you will be able to drink all of any wines from any of those producers any day of the week. And we will also have the capacity to host tastings of our own. So the idea is that we can each schedule, like if you want to taste with Isa Wines, you reach out to me and I like book us a table or we do a little thing at Dose Bar. And you can just go there without me and just drink the wine, or you can drink you could have a glass of Fresco, you could have a glass of Isa. It's like a very cool.
Okay. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a sit down like flight tasting.
No.
You can actually order a glass of wine
or
and
you
hang
can
out.
buy the bottles to go. You can, it's a very flexible, very fun kind of
And what are the hours? Okay, that's all right. We're
Is there a-
assuming that-
online.
Yeah, find it online.
Dose Bar. DOS.
Those bars. Is there a
DOS
food
bar.
situation?
There is no food right now. No,
Okay.
that I know of, but there is Valley right around the corner.
You got a good stereo in there?
There's great music. There's going to be great music. There's a lot of really fun. The environment's really fun. Did you go to the opening?
I missed you. I was
Yeah.
out of town.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I didn't see you there.
I wasn't
I'm not guilting you. I'm
Lame
just wondering.
Just a little bit of guilt.
Yeah.
Just the right amount. I'll get over there this weekend.
Yeah. I just noticed that you weren't there. But it's okay. You can come to the Isa Wines.
Yeah, perfect.
So-
I was waiting for the right time.
And then to elaborate, the way that it's going to work is that as each of us get our licensing or as it goes through, we'll have our own individual parties. So there will be an Atella party, an Isa Wines party. There will be a Bardos party. But so far, it's just Marioni, Fresco, Caleb Leisure. I'm so sorry. I miss Caleb Leisure. Yes.
Number 9.
Uh-huh. What does that mean?
Well, because you always hit other.
Oh.
I thought it was a new fragrance.
Yeah. We're like, is that
Caleb Leisure, number 9.
Number 9.
Smell like an amphora.
Yeah. Oh, that would be great.
That would be
Caleb, you should make a cologne that smells like amphora.
definitely Caleb Leisure.
Do you guys all have something in common? Is there a common interest between all of you?
We
that
like
are-
each other and
Yeah.
we make wine. I would say we're all in the winemaking community, obviously, but like we've all worked together for the most part, like pretty intimately. We all hang out. It's like,
Yeah.
it was so Dan Marioni and oh my God, I'm sorry, Aaron from Bardos, Aaron Brown, made this concept together. So they were like the spearhead guys, and then they invited all of us to be a part of it, and now it's a collective.
It's a great idea.
It's a really cool
It
idea.
reminds
right?
me kind of like the caves in southern France. Like you
Yeah.
go someplace and you can try a bunch of wines
Totally.
from that region. You know?
And we all work together. I mean, it harkens back to like the very original point that we were talking about, that we like wine isn't made by one person. We all
Yeah.
make our wines together. Like Sam and I make wine in the same facility. We are like a community together
Yeah.
in that.
And this for a while you had to have your own individuals. Like you'd go to these cooperative things and you'd have like a bank teller and you had to stand in your position and only pour your wines.
Right.
And fortunately they've loosened it up enough to allow this sort of collaboration, which will only help bring more people.
Yeah.
Is it that way at Bacchus Landing up in Healdsburg?
No, those are individual spots.
Okay.
And that's a much bigger, that's like a development. This is just one building that they're all sharing.
It's one bar. So it's going to be great. It's very experimental.
I think it's a
like
great
a new
concept.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
So it's open right now?
It's open right now. Yeah. With
Brian.
three wines, 3 winemakers wines, 3 wineries are available.
And then
But the
more
cider's not
to
in there
follow.
Not
yet.
yet. No. So we're all.
That was all Aaron, Brandon, and all that, and he hasn't.
He has a baby. He has a
I
brand
know,
new
he's,
baby.
He's very busy.
He is very busy.
He's probably relieved they can't sell his cider.
He's doing a lot. Aaron works really hard. But soon you'll have all of those wines available.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Shout outs. Brian?
I don't know if Sam wants to talk about it. We got a really cool kind of kickoff harvest dinner coming up at the Fairmont that we're partnering. Fairmont and in Awa Boys, wherever it is.
Okay. Fairmont Sonoma Mission Inn.
Fairmont Sonoma Mission
Inn.
Inn.
Used to live. That's fun.
You used to live at the Fairmont?
Oh, I wish.
Next
I
door
live
in a house without air conditioning.
exactly. Right down the street.
August 29th. It's Thursday.
Oh, fun.
And we're actually partnering with someone that we farm for, so Laurel Glen. So it's going to be a twofer. You get 2 wineries, and we're going to do our wines with each course. So you're not only going to get a 16600 wine with each course, but a Laurel Glen wine with each course. And we all have very different wines, so it's actually going to be super fun because like they're doing a Riesling while we do the Homage Blanc, and we'll be doing Oakville Grenache while they're doing one of their cabs. Like it's going to be
cool.
Yeah, dope.
Brian, is Laurel Glen the McDonald's guy?
No.
No,
It's
no.
Bettina.
No, this is
No, that's you're talking about.
Yeah, I know.
Ronald
I know.
McDonald.
Ronald
Yeah.
McDonald.
Am I blanking on his name right now?
No.
Is his name not Ronald
No,
McDonald?
no, he's the guy who played Ronald McDonald and Joe Suzu.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. We're spending way too much time on it.
Exactly.
I have a quick question.
The most important thing is
Question
Laurel
about this
Glen
event.
Winery. Laurel Glen Winery is one of the original wineries in Sonoma Valley that brought focus to Sonoma Valley, and it's currently owned by Bettina. And
He's been on the show. Her family was started Blue Nun
# Blue Nun.
back in the day.
Friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod.
God, you listen.
She's hired.
Terrifying.
I'm hurting myself when I do that. I need better technique. Will
When you come
Oprah
back,
be at this party?
I don't know yet.
Can you ask her?
We could check in with Oprah. If there's no Bart Shen in there, she might not want to show up.
All right, well then.
But it'll be a cool dinner.
Make her
The
happy.
Chef Jen, the chef at the Fairmont is a friend of ours. The menu is amazing.
He's dope.
And yeah, if you want to get tickets, you can reach out to us, or you can go right to Laurel Glen website, or if you follow them on Instagram and then click into their link tree.
Clink into it.
Clink into it. They are actually currently they're selling tickets right now.
Yes.
Yeah,
And the
no
tickets
big-
are totally reasonable. It's like $150.
Oh yeah, we did that on purpose. And then there's also a promo code if you want to spend the night at the Fairmont. We're
What?
doing a discount on rooms.
No way.
So you can hang out at the Fairmont if you want to go to the spa the next day.
Cool.
There's
All
a
the
discount
cool
on
shit
spa
you
stuff.
learned today.
I learned so much.
Wow.
We
What
all
a great
did.
day.
Brian?
We learned you
There.
get to Mallorca on a plane.
Exactly.
Usually.
I don't.
From here?
I don't.
Usually.
It's a long way. You can take a boat.
You guys are
Yeah.
fun. Thank
You
you.
can take a boat, Brian. Swim if you want.
What else? I mean, we had so much fucking fun this weekend.
We really did.
What'd you do?
Well, this.
Oh,
I mean, we had.
man. The party?
I did. I mean, I basically partied all week.
Yeah.
Atlanta.
Is that
Had
unusual?
a great dinner at sorta great dinner at Mujo in Atlanta. Shout out to Jason Lillifore, the Somm there, took great care of us. Transformative sushi dinner, just out of control.
Kelly looked like she was having fun.
Kelly had a great time. Recorded a podcast with Kelly and her crew, live audience podcast.
Was that on A Cork in the Road?
A Cork in the Road, so that'll be out in a week or so. And then we did this dinner Haven in the Brookhaven neighborhood of Atlanta. And we did a Wine is Dead. It was Jerry's birthday.
I saw that.
And they went all out. They had a great band. They put the whole entire staff in tie-dye t-shirts. The food
of
was,
yours?
No, their own.
Oh,
they made
cool.
their own like Haven tie-dye t-shirts.
Cute.
And then the standout, the food was great. Dry aged ahi tuna.
Oh,
What?
Paired with Cabernet.
what?
And it like worked. It like brought out this sort of like steaky characteristics of the tuna. And the chef talked about, the specific humidity and length of time that you did to dry age tuna safely. But it was one of the most amazing things I've ever eaten.
Wow.
And then we came home and we had probably our biggest final Sunday here ever.
It was a party.
It was a party with great food from Fiorella.
Band was awesome.
The band was awesome. The food was
Where's
awesome.
West? Yeah.
Stanley was here all day. Selling prints.
I never got to talk to him. I was out there the whole time.
That's by Stanley Mass Design. He would rather not talk to anybody unless they're writing him checks for his paintings. Yeah.
I shouldn't talk to anybody unless they're paying me. That's such a good idea.
It's a good plan.
Now you guys.
You're learning now bad things.
Yeah.
All right, everybody.
I got one more shout out.
Yes.
We
got a couple shout outs. Yeah, go ahead. You go.
Well, I'm doing winemaker dinner at the Glen Ellen Star on October 29th. Tickets go on sale here shortly.
The last one was great.
Thank
I
you.
went. Yeah, I was at that one. Yeah,
Great or grape?
both.
DTC Symposium.
Yes.
Early bird pricing available now.
What
is.
that?
This year in Monterey.
In Monterey.
What is the symposium? What's going on?
It's all about all the different intricacies of the direct consumer world, wine business, marketing, shipping, sales.
Who's running it?
It is run by Free the Grapes, which is the organization that pushes for state legislatures to allow us to ship and make things easier, and it's awesome. In January, moving to Monterey, awesome hotel, worth checking out for sure.
Cool.
Great collection of folks in the wine business.
Are you presenting this year?
I think we're gonna do another show down there.
Yep.
Maybe we'll get on stage. Barbara, if you're listening, put us on stage.
We should do a live podcast.
Yeah, well, I think what we're talking about doing was like a live sort of wrap up podcast and taking some audience questions and
That's fun.
Be fun.
stuff like that. So I
need some time in Carmel.
If it's not,
also,
we'll just
don't you want to come?
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah, sure.
Let's go.
You want to talk about Savajeja?
200 years of farming.
Yeah.
The year of the farmer.
Legends dinner. What's going on, Bart?
It's all coming. So
Okay.
guys, just
Good shot.
throw me on the bus.
One more thing.
Tickets. I have something to say about that also.
Please.
So first of all, what
Longest
John's
outro
pointing
ever.
for, exactly. No on Jay.
on Jay.
I'm currently
The only
in
time I ever say
conversation.
no to a J is
Right, exactly.
this bill.
We will have a show with the Sonoma County Farm Bureau and some guests, a dairyman by the name of Doug Beretta, a duck farmer by the name of Jen Reichart,
Yay.
yes.
Liberty
Shout out to Jen.
and maybe a
Mama
couple
Jen.
other to talk about. They're having their kickoff on August 14th. So when we close up here, we need to lock up the date that we want to have them on. And
I
then
thought it was this Thursday, but that's what I have down on my calendar anyway.
That was a floating
Okay.
date.
No problem
Sorry.
whatsoever, man.
one of those
Off the
one of
table.
those floating dates.
That day. It float right away.
Exactly. Something else comes up.
Yeah.
The Vintage Festival is coming up. So tickets are on sale currently for all the events. It starts off with Friday night is the Legends Dinner. It's not the Legends Dinner anymore. We got rid of Legends Dinner. It's like, what's a legend? I mean, give me a fucking break.
Allegedly.
So it is exactly. So it is now the Sonoma Valley Harvest Dinner. It's being hosted by our friends at Gunlock Bunchu. The dinner is
gun bun.
welcome to the wine business, Isabel. Food is being done by the Glen Ellen Star. And then, of course, the all-day festival on the plaza on Saturday.
Great bands this year.
Great bands.
Oh yeah, Roy Rogers is playing.
Beer tasting, wine tasting, blessing of the grapes. The water fight between the fire departments, which is really a must-see thing.
It's back.
What am I forgetting? The grape stomp competition.
Hot dog throwing or some shit?
Throwing potatoes and salamis.
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen one of these yet.
Tried and true Sonoma tradition.
Yeah.
Put on by the Boy Scouts at any of the festivals in the plaza. They set up this like camo tent basically, and they hand you a potato, and there's a bunch of salamis hanging at the back of the tent, and you throw a potato, and if you hit a salami, you win a salami. Wow. Simple as that. Hit it, win it.
Like that.
And you get a Columbus salami. It's
loving that.
Sonoma.
Simple as it gets.
And then
simple as it gets. Hit a salami, win a salami.
There you go.
There's no pop 3 balloons, and you can get a larger stuffed animal.
Right. No. And then it all culminates with Saturday night at the grand tasting that will be held in the back of the barracks. A bunch of Sonoma Valley wineries, restaurants serving tastes, and all around just good time. Real fun.
Party time.
Yeah. And we had a little rain before it last year, so hopefully this year we'll get all of our tablecloths were wet last year when we showed up for the tasting.
It is another tried and true Sonoma tradition that when Sonoma Valley Vendors and Growers plans an event, it rains.
It rains.
So,
All right.
Is that it? Well, thanks everybody for listening. We are indeed the Winemakers. We'll talk to you next week.
Indeed.
Whee!
Indeed. Good one.